So I just watched a brand new Sonic the Hedgehog sequel, and here's my review. Now, there won't be any spoilers, but to give you context, I am a fan of the Sonic games. I love the Sonic franchise. I remember playing Sonic '06 when I was a kid. I remember playing Sonic Unleashed, Sonic and the Secret Rings. There's a lot of Sonic games I grew up playing, so I love the character of Sonic. I understand the lore. I'm not like the biggest mega fan anymore. I have not played a Sonic game since Sonic Generations, but I have a nostalgic feeling for the character. But to give you context, the first Sonic movie, as hyped as I was, it was a movie that mainly disappointed me. It was a movie I don't like. There are things about the first Sonic movie that I like, but overall, I don't think it's a good film. In fact, I haven't seen the movie since it came out in theaters, which was the final movie I saw pre-pandemic. But let's hear my review. So, to give you a context real quickly, I love this movie. I actually do love Sonic the Hedgehog 2. I didn't like the first one, but the second movie, I loved it, and I'm going to explain why. Let me get to the main positive. Of course, Jim Carrey's Robotnik. He, to me, steals the show. The same look, even though I don't like the first movie, Jim Carrey's Robotnik stole that first movie just like he did this second one, and except I think he is far better in this second movie than he was in the first movie. And here's the reason why. I felt like the first movie was too limiting his character. There were scenes that made no sense. Yes, they were funny, but I remember just looking at those scenes in the first movie that had no meaning whatsoever. And it felt like he was just crazy for the sake of being crazy. Like there's a scene where he's running from a T-Rex, and then his head gets bent, and he does this weird dance. And as good as that scene is, it slowed down the runtime. It felt like it was doing way too much in that movie. And there was a lot of humor in that first movie I didn't like. But in the second one, Jim Carrey's Robotnik felt more crazy, felt more alive, but there also felt like there was a purpose because we start off the movie with him being in this mushroom planet. He's been deserted there for over 200 days, and you understand why he is crazy. And you also see his intelligence, but not just the material he has, but in that mushroom planet, he's still intelligent there, using everything to his advantage. And that's what I love about Jim Carrey. But the comedy, everything, his story, his motivation, his plot, everything made sense. Every scene in this movie, while yes, there are silly scenes, they made sense to the character and it made sense for the movie. But one thing that I didn't like about the first one that the second one did do is that first one felt like it was too limiting of the character of Sonic the Hedgehog. And I love that this movie was just full on creative, because one of my problems with the first one was they weren't creative enough. It felt like they pushed themselves so much to a corner that it felt like they were limiting what they could do. This is about a blue hedgehog who runs faster than the speed of sound. You would think that you could do a lot with that character, but in the first one, it limits itself. It felt like it was just this average road trip movie with no purpose. But the second one, this time, they go all wild. They do everything. Knuckles, Idris Elba's Knuckles, dude was brilliant. He was one of the best parts of the film. I think he's the third best part behind Ben Schwartz's Sonic and behind Jim Carrey's Robotnik. Idris Elba, his voice was intimidating. He was scary every time he was up against Sonic. I love the action between Sonic and Knuckles. I love their banter. I love their motivation for each character. I love that Knuckles has a motivation in this movie. I love he has a purpose in this movie. You learn, and I'm excited to see his Paramount Plus series, which is coming. I think it was 2023, but I'm excited because you do see his backstory. You do see what happens, and I love Knuckles the Echidna. Obviously, he was perfect with Jim Carrey's Robotnik, but the fight scenes between Sonic and Knuckles, I know a lot of hardcore fans are going to ask me, were they any good? Heck yeah. In the first movie, look, I'll admit the action was decent. It wasn't anything special. But in this one, it felt like a full-blown anime fight. When Sonic and Knuckles specifically fought, I love that. And look, the action was decent in the first one. It's just that in this second one, it's like they went off the roof. They went off the roof. And I love that. Tails was good. We had a lot of fun with Tails. I don't think he was anything special, but Tails was a fun character. And I know they brought back the voice actor who played Tails in the video games. That's a nice little touch. That did feel like Tails. I like Tails. One of my biggest worries when I saw the post-credit in the first Sonic movie was, how are you going to introduce Tails as Sonic's best friend in the second movie? And how are you going to have Knuckles fight? Like, what are you going to do? Because typically in the games, it's Sonic and Tails forever. But now it's Sonic and Tails. Except for one movie, Sonic doesn't know Tails' existence. And then in the second movie, they're best friends. They fight Knuckles and all that. James Morrison. I love that this movie One thing I don't like about the first movie is it was just a basic road trip movie, but in the second movie, the human characters, they are barely in it, and even when they're there, it was fun and entertaining. Now, they were the weakest parts of the movie, not the weakest parts, but they were the weakest scenes in the movie. But even those scenes were just quick. They felt on pace to the story. I love that. The runtime. I know some people complained about the movie being over 2 hours. It's a little over 2 hours, I believe. I think it's 2 hours and 4 minutes. I think it was perfect. It was a perfect runtime. The movie never bores you. The movie entertains you from beginning to end. I love that. The music they chose in this movie was actually pretty good. I know there's a song by Kid Cudi in this movie. It's actually pretty good. It fits the character of Sonic, actually. Like, sometimes when there's original music like made by artists, sometimes it just feels weird. Like, for example, that Teen Titans Go movie, they had a song by Lil Yachty. That song did not fit that movie. It felt weird. But this Kid Cudi song actually fit the movie. There's a scene in the movie where they use it. I like how they use it. They play it in the credits. I like it. But overall, the story is basically... so Sonic is left to home alone because James Morrison's character and his wife, Tika Sumpter, I believe that's the name of the actress, they both are going to Hawaii to go to the wedding of the sister of Tika Sumpter's character. I don't remember the characters' names. And the plot of the story is basically Sonic hasn't grown up. He's a kid. He doesn't know how to assume responsibility. In fact, at the beginning of the movie, which you see in the trailers, he wants to be this Batman-like character. He wants to be called Blue Justice. He wants to be a hero, but knows that he's very immature to be in that position. And I like that this movie kind of has this story of family and friends. They even bring up Vin Diesel and Dwayne Johnson at one point in the movie, so that was fun. And the story is basically Robotnik's back. He has Knuckles with him. Knuckles and Eggman are trying to get the Master Emerald, which you see in the movie. It's a giant Chaos Emerald that has all the Chaos Emeralds within it. And basically the story is Sonic and Tails have to prevent Knuckles and Robotnik from getting it, because Knuckles' motivation is he wants to bring back his tribe of the echidnas that have all died out, and he wants to get that Chaos Emerald to bring back power, while Robotnik, he wants to dominate the whole world. And I love that. I love that Robotnik is literally a mustache twirling villain, but there's a purpose to it. And Sonic, of course, has to race, and he has to stop them. They have to find out. And what I like about this movie is it limits the human characters, and it's more focused towards Sonic, Knuckles, Tails, and Robotnik. Those are the four main characters. It's no longer James Morrison and Sonic against Robotnik. It's now Sonic, Knuckles, Tails, and Robotnik. I love that. And I love all the characters. I love all the banter between them. I like the chemistry together. But again, Robotnik is the best part of this movie. I like the story. I had a lot of fun with it. There are some jokes that are pretty funny. What I like about this movie is it feels like it took all the bad from the first movie, threw it out the window, got all the good things of the first movie, and made that much better, made it much longer, gave more purpose to that part of the first movie. And I love that, because that first movie had a major struggle of wanting to be a Sonic movie, but also wanting to limit what it could do and be a basic road trip movie, which is why one of my most unpopular opinions of all time is I didn't like that first Sonic movie. But I think the second one, finally, it's like it took out the seatbelt. It's like it was like, you know what? That first movie was successful. Now let's make a true Sonic the Hedgehog movie. And one thing I love is, I think it was 20 minutes into the movie, and this is what happens with me. It'll be like the first 20 minutes of a movie, and I'll think to myself, am I enjoying it yet? Because it's kind of like a mental test to me. When I was watching the first Sonic movie, the first 20 minutes, I wanted to walk out. I wanted to leave. I didn't want to be there because it felt so lame. It felt like they weren't doing anything with the movie, with the premise they had. And I think that first movie, I remember just wanting to walk out. I didn't, obviously, but I still think it's a decent movie. It's just not a good movie. While the second one, I looked at the first 20 minutes and I was like, holy crap, I'm having a lot of fun. I like what they're doing. I like the motivations. I like everything. And I really enjoyed this movie. I think it's a fun movie that I think kids and families are going to like. But more specifically, I think this movie, if you're a Sonic fan, you don't even have to be hardcore. I'm not a hardcore Sonic fan. I'm more just the average Sonic fan. I'm just the average fan, and I still enjoy this movie. I think this movie did a lot of great to it, and I love that. But now let's get into the negatives. So some of the negatives is there's a joke every 5 seconds, which I'm fine with. There's a Deadpool. You look at the Deadpool movies. I love those movies, and they had jokes every 5 seconds. My only negative is a lot of the jokes did not land. Like there's this joke where Knuckles says base of the ball, and the whole point is Oh, look at Knuckles. He's ignorant. He doesn't know what baseball is. I don't know. There's Is this a spoiler? No, it's not a spoiler because Robotnik does the floss at one point in the movie. Yeah, to the people who found that first Sonic movie, how Sonic does the floss, if you found that cringy, you're going to find this Robotnik scene cringy. And I'm wondering, did Jim Carrey decide to do that because he saw how many people cringe at that scene? He was like, hey, you know what? Let's make fun of that. Yeah, I think there was a lot of cringy scenes in this movie. Not there. Only 2% of this movie was cringy. The other Sonic movie, 55% of the movie was cringy, while this one was more like 3%, 4%, 5%, which is good because I'm just hoping most of the percent is not cringy. And there are jokes in this movie that don't land. Now, for the most part, they do land. There are also some plot holes. Well, they're not plot holes, but Sonic, as explained in the first movie and even in this movie, Sonic can literally stop time itself, especially against human characters. But it's like this movie knew that Sonic is incredibly OP, and there are some scenes where you would think that Sonic could do it within 5 seconds, but instead, it's overly long. It's not like there's this scene. So in the trailers, you see a scene where Sonic and Tails go to a bar. That scene didn't have to be there. That scene felt like it dragged because it felt like the writers were like, "Hey, we got to make this scene longer." Obviously, Sonic is the fastest character of all time. Let's try to make the scene faster. Or let's try to slow down the scene, I mean. And there are scenes like that. There's a scene there's no spoilers, by the way, but there's a scene where Robotnik does something. And Sonic, within 2 seconds, could have prevented him from doing that. But instead, he just stands there. You'll know it when you watch the movie. But there are some negatives. Some of the jokes, of course, didn't land. I think Tika Sumpter's sister, I think that's what she's supposed to be. Her character is a little lame. She's not all that funny. I didn't find her all that funny. What else is there to criticize? There really isn't any. Those are my only criticisms. I still overall enjoy this movie. I had a lot of fun. By the way, I'm not going to spoil it, but I will tell you there is one post-credit scene, and I'm telling you this right now. If you're even an average Sonic fan, you could be a fan of Sonic X, you could be a fan of the video games, whatever you're a fan of Sonic, this post-credit scene will hype you up. And there was someone in my audience who's a hardcore Sonic fan who completely screamed. I've never heard anyone scream in a theater, but she was screaming incredibly loudly, and you could tell she's a hardcore Sonic fan, and she screamed incredibly hard. That post-credit is going to hype up anyone who's even the slightest Sonic fan out there. Even if you've only played one Sonic game, or if you've only seen the video, the animated series, even if you just seen that scene in the post-credits is gonna blow your mind. There's also a scene in the ending that will blow your mind, but not as much as the post-credit, but that's all I'm going to say. But anyways, I overall like this movie. And again, who do I recommend this to? I know I said it earlier, but I'll repeat myself. If you're a family, let's say you're a father or a mother and you're trying to take your kids out to go watch a movie, they'll definitely like this movie. Just like the first one, they'll definitely like this one. This movie is catered to children, of course. So it's a family-friendly movie, very family-friendly. And if you're a hardcore Sonic fan, or again, if you're just the slightest Sonic fan, you're going to like this. And if you didn't like the first Sonic movie, I guarantee you're probably going to think this movie is at least better. Maybe you won't think it's a good movie, but at least you'll think it's better. But to me, I'm just happy that Sonic got a win. When it comes to franchises I love, I want them to at least have one good movie, a winning record. Like the Lord of the Rings trilogy to me had a winning record, 3-0. I like to think of it in sports terms. Like the original Star Wars trilogy had 3 wins in a row. The Star Wars sequels had 2 wins and then 1 loss with Rise of Skywalker. The prequels had 2 losses, 1 win with Revenge of the Sith. Like every franchise, I look like Marvel. I think they have more wins than losses. The DCU, I think they have more wins than losses. I think they only have 2 losses. Now, this is, of course, subjective. Everyone's going to have a different record. But Sonic, it was 1 loss, which was the first Sonic movie, and they win. And I'm glad it made a comeback. And I'm glad that now because I felt like, I remember leaving the theater. So I went with a group of friends for the first Sonic movie. I remember I felt so left out when they were talking about how much they enjoyed the movie. And yet I was there kind of being the grumpy one, being like, I didn't like this movie. I think this movie could have been far better. And I think this second Sonic movie, I'm so glad it redeemed the Sonic franchise for me. I'm glad I'm no longer in the unpopular opinion. I'm so happy that now I can enjoy a movie that everyone else enjoyed within the Sonic franchise. I'm glad it did that, but overall, I really like this movie. I don't love it. I know I said I loved it earlier, but thinking about it more, I really, really enjoyed it. So you guys know, if you guys watch this channel, you guys know last week I did a review on Morbius. Now, I'm only going to compare them because they're coming out around, I mean, Morbius came out last weekend, Sonic came out this weekend, so it's comparable. Which movie do I think is better? I'll say I still think Morbius is better. But again, they're two completely different movies. Now that I know there's going to be people discrediting me because I've had so many idiots discredit me for my Morbius review. If you're somebody who hates people who like movies that you don't, then I'm sorry, you got to get out of the internet, or just touch grass. But hey, that's just my thoughts on the movie. Overall, I like Sonic the Hedgehog 2, and I'm sure most of you guys will like it. But before I go, please comment down below after the video and let me know, what did you think of my thoughts? Do you agree, disagree, or have you not seen it, have you not? Whatever it is, please let me know in the comment section down below, and I'll see you guys next time. Peace.